Coming up tonight on the News at 5, uncertainty in the home stretch of the presidential race after President Donald Trump tests positive for COVID-19. Plus, voting is underway across the Treasure State.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Andy Curtis. Thanks for joining us. Well, we're learning more about President Donald Trump's condition after reports that he contracted COVID-19. According to NBC and multiple people familiar with the situation, the president has a low-grade fever and is fatigued. President Trump has been transferred to Walter Reed Medical Center for treatment. The Marine One chopper arrived earlier this afternoon on the south lawn of the White House, and we're just over a month away from Election Day, and the president's health has the potential to upend everything about it. Maya Rodriguez takes a closer look.
Presidential campaigns often brace for what's known as the October surprise, and at the very start of the month, it's held true. The president tweeting out overnight that he and the First Lady tested positive for COVID-19. News already disrupting the final sprint to Election Day.
He is in an age group that does carry risk for severe COVID. So this is very concerning.
President Trump, who favors holding in-person campaign rallies, canceling one scheduled for Friday in Florida and two others that were set for Wisconsin this weekend, both critical swing states. The news comes at the end of a week which included a raucous presidential debate.
Wait, not true.
You're doing it.
You're going to have
tape.
True. Gentlemen, I hate to raise my voice, but I see
the future of the next one, scheduled to take place in Miami in less than 2 weeks, remains up in the air. Meanwhile, the vice presidential debate set for this coming Wednesday is still on. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Karen announcing they tested negative for the virus. If President Trump were unable to fulfill his duties as president, the 1947 law laying out presidential succession says Vice President Pence would step in. If for any reason he was not able to, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi would be next in line, followed by Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, who is Senate President pro tem, followed by various members of the president's cabinet. Questions remain about the coronavirus status of others in the president's inner circle, many of whom traveled without masks around both him and presidential advisor Hope Hicks, who was the first to show symptoms and test positive this week, eventually leading to the president getting tested himself. Democratic candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden tweeting out that he and his wife are praying, quote, for the health and safety of the president and his family. A president now facing even more scrutiny on his health in the waning days of the campaign, as the country and the world wait to see what unfolds next. In Washington, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
The president's personal physician, Dr. Sean Conley, says as a precaution, the president received an infusion of an antibody cocktail. In addition, the president has been taking zinc, vitamin D, famotidine, melatonin, and a daily aspirin. The White House says Trump will likely stay at Walter Reed for several days out of an abundance of caution. As we inch closer to the weekend, here with our forecast, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebinitz.
Yeah, the weekend is here. Good afternoon, everybody. And the smoke's still a little bit here as well. Some locations in the state actually moderate air quality. Bozeman, Dillon, Seeley Lake, Cup Bank, Helena, and Great Falls have been teetering also on moderate air quality throughout the course of the day. Right now, technically still good. You still can see some of that smoke out there. That's from wildfires in California and Idaho. However, look how much of Montana is under a fire weather watch. That is a precursor for a red flag warning here. We'll have to watch out with the fire danger that will be increasing here in Montana for Sunday. The fire danger still is high because it's been so dry. It's looking more and feeling more like June out there for the first weekend of October. Average highs should be in the 60s. We're going to be up in the 70s and the 80s. The drought is getting dire. I'll have more on this coming up in the full forecast. And make sure you have fun this weekend. I'm all about having fun, but do it without fire. We need to not start any new wildfires. I'll have more on the full forecast coming up.
Well, Montana has set a new single-day record for COVID-19 cases multiple times just in the last week. Amid rising cases, canceled sporting events, and even national attention, MTN's Matt Holzoffel sat down with Cascade City County Health Officer Tricia Gardner to talk about the state of COVID-19 here in the state.
October began the same way September ended in Montana, with COVID-19 case numbers topping 300 multiple days in a row. Cascade City County Health Officer Tricia Gardner said the rising numbers can partially be attributed to exponential growth of the virus, but also to many people not taking it seriously.
There are many people not taking this seriously and not playing their part in mitigating the spread of this virus.
Gardner says the recent spike can also be traced back to Labor Day get-togethers and communal outbreaks, like the one at the Cascade County Detention Center. Despite that, she doesn't think schools need to make a big adjustment just yet.
The most important thing that we need to remember is a lot of these cases are originating from settings outside of school and work facilities. It's when people are letting down their guard, becoming a little bit more relaxed.
On September 30th, White House Coronavirus Task Force Response Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx told MTN that she was concerned about the spread of coronavirus in Montana.
That doesn't surprise me that they have focused on that. Early on in this pandemic, we implemented some very strict rules and we've loosened those up.
Early Friday afternoon, the Cascade County Commission voted to approve 2 contracts, which will further relationships between the Health Department and Alluvian Health and Great Falls Public Schools, respectively. One will provide the CCHD with more staff when needed. The other will appoint deputy public health officials within the school district, which will assist with contact identification, notification, and quarantine. In Great Falls, Matt Holzoffel, MTN News.
Although health officials haven't designated a specific benchmark for the state to consider another stay-at-home order just yet, Gardner says it's not out of the question. Well, the first votes in Montana's general election have already been cast. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on the start of the early voting period and what role national trends could play on voting in this state.
Counties across Montana have officially opened in-person early voting on Friday. In Lewis and Clark County, several dozen people have already been through to get their ballots in.
Lewis and Clark County, along with 44 other counties in Montana, has switched to a mail ballot election in response to COVID-19. That means ballots will be sent out to all active registered voters next Friday. However, the governor's directive that allowed counties to use mail ballots also required that they offer an in-person voting option. Many of those voting Friday in Lewis and Clark County will be out of town when the ballots are mailed out. Election officials say mail ballots and early voting both help achieve a goal, limiting the rush of people coming in to vote on Election Day. Jeremy Johnson, an associate professor of political science at Carroll College, says he expects more Montanans than ever to vote early.
Even before COVID, we've seen in each election cycle, we see more and more people voting early. And it will almost certainly be a record number this year again, particularly with COVID, and particularly as people just get comfortable with the early voting options in Montana.
The start of voting also comes as the news that President Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19 has dominated the national discussion. Johnson says we'll have to wait and see how this story develops in the coming weeks, but there's reason to believe it might not make much difference.
One thing about the Trump presidency, though, is just how stable polling is.
Election officials say if someone wants to vote in person before mail ballots go out next week, their mail ballots will be voided. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Johnson says in many states there's been evidence that Democrats are more likely to vote early, while Republicans are more likely to wait until Election Day. He says that pattern could continue this year here in Montana. And when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz will have a complete check of your weekend forecast. And later, Democratic candidate for the U.S. House, Kathleen Williams, is having her salary paid for by her campaign. Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison looks into the charge coming up next.
Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Full harvest moon was yesterday. The moon almost still full, but what you might want to check out tonight, especially right next to the moon, it's got a friend. Mars will be 1 degree away from the moon. You know how much 1 degree is? A pinky right there. So Mars will be very close to the moon out there, and really over the course of the weekend, it'll get a little further away tomorrow and then Sunday. But skies obviously are clear, looking very nice out there. 76 degrees, still a bit of some haze. Want to direct you to the records. Keep those numbers in mind. Really, the record high is 85 degrees because we may be getting close to that number before the weekend is out. In Great Falls, sky's not so bad, 70 degrees. And again, our air quality has been right in between good and moderate for a lot of the state. A little cooler and breezier the farther east you go into the state. Some sustained winds up to about 30 miles per hour. It actually rained in eastern Montana today. Now, the wind will be dying down here tonight. Tomorrow, not a very windy day for anywhere in the state here. However, look what happens Saturday night and then Sunday, increasing wind, and that's why we've got increasing fire danger for Sunday. There are a couple of those very rare rain showers out there pushing through Glasgow and Glendive, a little east of Miles City. That disturbance moving through the Dakotas and into Nebraska right now, but still, much of the west high and dry, and also a little on the smoky side. We've got a high pressure, and that's kind of just really continuing the flow of smoke, kind of keeping it in the western United States and in Montana here as well. So we will have a little smoke in the sky through the course of the weekend here. See for tomorrow and then heading into Sunday especially as the flow switches around to the southwest. Little in the way of a front may push that smoke down to the south here on Monday into Tuesday, but guess what's coming back for Wednesday and Thursday? Yeah, that's smoke. Not much in the way of precipitation or clouds here this weekend near the state. Rain north, west, and east of Montana. We may get again a couple of showers with that minor front going through in eastern Montana on Monday here, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, yeah, we are stuck in a very dry pattern here. So the rich get richer as far as precipitation on the East Coast, and the poor get poorer as far as a lack of precipitation here in the west. Temperatures tonight a little on the cool side, into the 30s to around 40 degrees. Skies mainly clear. Again, pretty nice night sky out there. And here's the forecast for tomorrow. Lovely day. Skies maybe a little hazy at times and a few clouds into eastern Montana. Temperatures in the 60s to right around 70 degrees. Forecast for Helena, some smoky skies tomorrow. Maybe not the worst smoke we've ever seen, but certainly on the hazy side. Increasing temperature and wind on Sunday. We've got higher fire danger. Monday and Tuesday, the smoke moves on out temporarily before it moves back Wednesday and Thursday. Look at those highs in the 80s again, right up close to record highs in Fort Great Falls. Smoky skies this weekend, a little cleaner Monday and Tuesday. And again, that looks more like a forecast for June than it does October.
Well, in debates last week between Montana's two U.S. House candidates, Republican Matt Rosendale pointed out that the campaign of Democrat Kathleen Williams is paying her salary. He then used that fact to criticize Williams, saying she wants to use taxpayer funds to pay for that salary. MTN's Mike Dennison looked into this charge and tells us what he found.
Matt Rosendale made the claim twice last week, including this comment in Saturday's debate sponsored by MTN News.
I find it fascinating that my opponent just brought in the campaign funding formulas that people are considering now, as she's looking to use your taxpayers' dollars to support $5 million of her campaign, while at the same time her campaign is paying her a salary.
First, Williams is not seeking to use taxpayer dollars to fund her current campaign, and she hasn't raised anything near $5 million. Rosendale is referring to her express support of a 2019 House bill that would create a federal fund to help finance candidates running for Congress. That money would come from fines paid by corporations for malfeasance, not general taxpayers. But her campaign is paying her a monthly salary of $3,000. She explained why on Saturday in response to Rosendale's criticism.
I do take a small salary from my campaign. It's not taxpayer dollars, just like Vice President Pence did when he ran for Congress. So I'm not a wealthy millionaire. I need to be able to support myself to be able to run. I put aside a successful career to do this.
That $3,000 a month payment is equivalent to about $17 an hour. Williams also pays payroll taxes on the money, so her campaign take-home is about $2,400 every 4 weeks. Federal Election Commission rules allow candidates for Congress to receive a salary from their campaign, but only after the candidate filing deadline. Williams' campaign says it wasn't initially aware of that rule, and that's why she paid back the campaign $12,500 last September for salary payments made before the deadline. The salary payments resumed after the March 9th deadline this year. Williams' campaign notes that her campaign money is entirely from private donors. It also notes that since Rosendale has been state insurance commissioner, getting paid by the public, he spent 70% of his time running for other offices. The Rosendale campaign says his record as insurance commissioner speaks for itself and that he's serving the people of Montana well. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Several other statewide office holders are running for other offices this year, like Governor Steve Bullock, Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, and Congressman Greg Gianforte. Now, this week in our series of MTN debates continues with the race for Montana governor. Democrat Mike Cooney and Republican Greg Gianforte take center stage with our panel of reporters, including Jay Cohn, Jill Valley, and Mike Dennison. Watch tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on KTVH or with the KTVH streaming app for Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, or Android TV. And coming up next on the news at 5, how National 4-H Week is still going strong with a few changes this year during the pandemic.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back, everybody. National 4-H Week kicks off next week, and the Big Push campaign this year is Opportunity for All. It's a way to show all their projects that students can sign up for, from livestock, photography, to even learning STEM robotics. Now, normally, the event would be in person, but due to the pandemic, parents can now get all that information from the comfort of their living room.
Starting from the age of 5 as clover buds, young children can get their feet wet in the 4-H program.
At 8 years old, the youth can choose whether they're ready to enter full membership or not. And so full membership is from 8 to 19 years old.
There are 150 projects for students to choose from being a babysitter to science, all of which can be learned about during the National 4-H Week. Parents can expect to pay $10 to join. Once in the program, they will then choose a club where additional membership may be required. Students will then need to buy their own supplies or pay for their livestock, such as a heifer or having a dog for dog training. But there is help if a family needs it.
You can find sponsorships and we can help with that, or if you don't have the space to raise an animal, we have a lot of people in the community that offer that space. So even if you live in town, there's other people who will offer a space so that you can raise the animal there.
Now, students in the second year, they can apply for more scholarships and be awarded for up to around $300, if not more. And that money will go directly towards paying for their projects and their programs. In Helena, I'm Phoenix O'Connor, MTN News.
We'll be right back after this.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back, everybody. A good reminder as we head into the weekend, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks are asking everyone to remain bear aware this fall. Bears, as we know, are very active this time of the year as they enter hyperphagia. That's the time when they continuously eat to prepare for hibernation. Homeowners should take precautions around their property by making sure bears aren't tempted by things like trash, compost, or pet food. FWP says because bears hibernate, and their habitat has been expanding for years, people should always be prepared.
There is always a risk, and you should be practicing all those good bear aware strategies, but particularly at this time of year, they're a little bit more focused, so they're not paying attention as much as what's going on around them. So it's much easier, I think, to have a situation where you startle them.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon. You can catch us back here tonight at 6 and 10 o'clock and always online at ktvh.com. Have a great and safe rest of your weekend.